Good morning, folks. If you haven't noticed, guess what month it is? It's Octember. Yeah, the month of hell. The month of hell. And I have not been spared, so yeah. What's happened this month exactly? Well, let's start out with the minor stuff. And also, let's start out with Moon. First fail. Well, I'm not going chronologically. I'm just going by what I have on hand. First one actually involves Moon. Funny enough, my razor broke. No, it still works, but what happened was this little buzzer thing here. Um, I was trying to cut some. I was trying to cut a small knot on her, on Moon's leg, and I was able to get it. But what happened was she decided to smack the razor out of my hands, and I dropped it. And when I dropped it, this little thing broke. You can see, like, on this side, there's that little, like, notch to hold it, and on this side, there's a knob. Yeah, that broke, so I couldn't really shave, but I did end up shaving anyway. It was a very big pain in the ass, let me tell you that. Um, Long story on how I did that, but maybe I'll tell that at some point or another. Yeah, I'm talking about you. So, fail number two. You see that? See that brown stuff? Yeah, that's mold. So we got a leak somewhere. Fuck. We went through the same thing in October 2019, where there was actually a leak the summer before because of some stupid kid upstairs. And what happened was there was a shit ton of water that came down, and my mother sort of didn't really think anything of it, so she just said, whatever, I could care less. I'm the only one who sees this anyway. But when October rolled around, the walls started molding, and we had to get that replaced, but it turns out the two guys who replaced the walls were total fucktards, and they missed the spot, and it kept spreading, and it was just this little back and forth that went on for a little while. Not all of them happened in October, only the first two, but yeah, after that, it kind of went silent for a while. We didn't have any mold since, but this October, yeah, we have mold. And it's behind the toilet of all places. It couldn't be on an easy to replace wall like this one. But we have a guy, and we're gonna call him, and he's gonna come get it fixed. He's an expert. He knows what the fuck he's doing. Because the first two guys who replaced the walls, the first time they actually did it okay. They just didn't notice that a little tiny bit had spread to the next wall. And when we called them back for the second time, they were very oblivious and just did not give a fuck. Because that bathroom, it's like you have a wall, then you have a little slit wall type thing, and then you have the rest of the wall that's at like an inch or two away, like in depth, if you know what I'm talking about. That's why that little like slit wall's there. That's like 3 inches wide. Yeah, they took the little molding off that and saw there was a shit ton of mold down there, but they just did not care. They put that thing right back on and went about their day. And I noticed it, and when we called in a new guy, we told him right away, so he decided to take off the entire molding of that area, and he inspected everything, and he was able to cut it off for good. And we didn't have that problem since. But that was the other bathroom, and now this is my bathroom. So, yay. We're gonna have to get that sorted out. Luckily, it only appeared a couple days ago, so I'm thinking that it hasn't spread to anywhere except this wall, but we're gonna tell him to just check. Because he did that the other time, and that was the reason we haven't had any mold since. So worst comes to worst, we're just gonna have to cut out a little bit of this wall and a decent chunk of that wall. But I'm hoping it hasn't spread too much this way, because that's where the dresser is, or the sink is, rather. The sink is. So that's fail number two. So fail number three involves my computer. Now, if you remember, I posted a couple days ago. We had a small internet outage. Internet to my building was cut for most of the day on, I believe it was Sunday or Saturday, one of those 2 days. But it was out for most of the day, and then it came back. Came back no problem. But then a couple days later, I go online and my computer says connected to Wi Fi, but no internet. So I'm like, hmm? So I just do the standard bit. I disconnect from the Wi Fi, reconnect, forget it, re log in, restart my computer, restart the router, do this, do that. And nothing seemed to be working. Because this wasn't. I'm not sure if this was directly related to when we lost internet completely, because like I said, we lost internet, we got it back. This computer worked fine for a couple days, and then all of a sudden now I have no internet again. But it's only on this computer, it's not on any of the phones or computers or tablets in this house. So it's isolated to this one machine. So now I'm not a computer expert, I never have been, I don't claim to be, don't quote me on that. So I've been emailing YouTube user JK18, and he's been trying to help me find solutions. There's one last thing I have left to try, and I'm going to be able to try that tomorrow. And then after that, I'm most likely going to have to replace the router. But we sort of expected to have to replace the router anyway, me and my mother, because that router is a little old. It was actually issued by Verizon. We've had Verizon for like 8 or 9 years now. Something along those lines. And that router is original because I remember setting it up in the old house was a big pain in the ass to my mother, so yeah. That router is original and it's pushing a decent age, and we actually do have a new router on hand. They sent this one a while back, like a couple months ago, and then all of a sudden my computer started saying that your Wi-Fi is an older network, use a different one. And I'm like, nah, whatever, I just never really cared because hey, I still had Wi-Fi. And occasionally, just as a side, that I didn't think too much of relating to it, is occasionally on my phone, it would drop the internet. Like, I would have Wi Fi, but wouldn't have internet. But that would be an occasional thing that would happen like once or twice a week. But it's still pretty frequent for, for anything. So, by tomorrow, we're going to see if the router needs replacing. I'm betting that it is because, well, I'll explain more when all that happens. But moving on. Moving on to fail number 4, which I'm not really sure how to address, is on some videos that I've recorded. I record very few videos on my phone because I have an actual camera. But the few videos I've recorded on my phone, some of them they make this little type sound. I'm not really sure what it is. I'm thinking it's the mic because nothing else in the area makes it, and if it's on different types of videos, then yeah. Not gonna say what those videos are because, that's still a work in progress, but I decided, yeah, even though it's somewhat practical that I could record this on here, I decided to just go and record the rest on my camera. And I've had no issues since. I'm not sure if it's going to make that sound for this video or if it's just limited to stuff like that, but either way, I'm not really sure how to resolve that, but as long as you can still somewhat hear me, understand that I'm speaking the same language as you, then I guess we're good. And for the last fail, the USB port in the car actually stopped working. Now, it's no big deal to us, but my mother likes to charge her phone in there sometimes, so now it don't work anymore, and she just has to wait till she gets home to charge her phone. I tested it with my phone, and got nothing. So, that's kind of the end of the story on that one. It is a lease, so we don't really give a fuck. And yeah, that sort of just does it for Octember. We're towards the end of the month, and it hasn't been looking all too bad. Oh, I forgot to mention one more thing. Two light fails, but those were more or less replaced right away. But yeah, that's gonna do it for October 2021. I'm hoping it doesn't get too much further than this, and that the whole mold issue, we can address that like right away, or we can get that out of the way right away, and hopefully that's the end of the story. And also, because there's mold, there could be a leak, so we also have to see about that. If anything comes up on that front, I'll surely update you guys. But for now, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.